Well, I can't seem to help myself, and I've dopped up another Montana Sapphire, a kind of blue-green, maybe pale green. It's about 5 millimeters plus or minus 0.2, pretty small. And I'm trying just using super glue instead of using dop wax as well. I was kind of thinking perhaps by heating the wax and the stone with the super glue, I was weakening the super glue, and then it was just mostly the wax holding it together. And so when I, put pressure on it, that was what made it fracture and break the last time. I'm just going to make it a round girdle. I'm not going to facet the girdles because it's so small. And I'm going to try that same cut for small sapphire that I was working on with the other one. So it'll be a straightforward 38 degrees for all the main pavilion facets, and then the girdle I'm just going to do a round, so I'm not going to have to do any of those, and then switch over to the crown and do 2 sets and then a table. Should be pretty straightforward. The main thing is this has to stay in one piece. Well, it stayed on the dop for the rough-in. I haven't brought it to a final point because I used a fairly coarse lap, and so I'll move to a finer lap to get that last little bit to a point at the pavilion. But I'm still going to use this coarse lap, which is a 360, to do the pavilion, or the girdle. And what I did was, since I'm not going to facet it, I found the closest, or the smallest, shortest edge from this to the center, which I think is on this face here. And what I did was set this into freewheeling mode, which normally the lever comes down and locks into place on the gear, but there's this little stop that you can put in the way. And so now I can rotate this 360 degrees, just rotate it slowly as I grind away the girdle. So I have it just touching the lap right there. This, I think, is where the stone is most likely to fail because the pressure is a more shear force on the dop and the stone, which the super glue is weakest in a sort of perpendicular to the plane of gluing up. Somehow I recovered it, and we're almost done with this teeny tiny Montana Sapphire. After it fell off the dop, I complained to a online group, and they recommended trying it again and practicing recentering and doing wax and all that. And I had 2 successful wax ups now. I finished the pavilion and transferred it to the crown. The transfer did not go well, and I had to re-dop separately, and so I'm a little off center compared to where I should be, and the girdle is a little bit uneven across the path of the stone. But I found just doing a 600 resin bonded diamond lap as my main shaping worked really well. And so I just go from the 600 new bond to my 50,000 diamond powder, and that seems to make a pretty good polish. See what it looks like once it's all cleaned up, and I just have to put in the table, get rid of that point. I'm going to grind in the table very loosely with the 1200 topper just so I don't make a groove in my resin bonded lap, and then switch over to the 600 and then polish it up, and I'll show you the final result. There is some silk and I think maybe some fractures on the inside that is unfortunate, but we'll see what it looks like once it's all done. I almost forgot to mention that the reason I'm using just the 600 before going to the final polish is when I went to the 1200, it left an orange peel effect in the stone, and actually going back to the 600 took out the orange peel and still left a little bit of like a faint orange peel, but I was able to just polish that out with the 600, or with the diamond on the tin lap. Well, here's our teeny tiny sapphire, all polished up. It has a faint blue-green look to it. It looks fairly colorless in this light, but depending on the light, it can be more blue than green, but very light. We can see now how much it weighs. 0.285 carats.